Good evening, everyone. Today is September 19th. The time is 6 p.m. and this is the Acushnet Planning Commission. This meeting is being recorded for future viewing on YouTube, and we are live via Zoom tonight. Can I get a motion to open the planning board meeting?
I make a motion to open a meeting.
Motion, can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a quorum. Can we all introduce ourselves, please?
Victoria Alfaro, Town Planner.
Peter Guyappa, member. Steve Boucher, member.
Mark Francois, Chairman.
Brian Deschamps, member.
And we have a quorum tonight. Okay. Minutes, meeting minutes, September 5th. This was sent out. Absent was Rick and Steve. You were out for this one. Brian or Pete, if you guys had a chance to look this over, if you have any questions, comments, concerns.
Seems fine to me.
Everything look good?
Okay, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as submitted.
We got a motion,
I'll
all in
second
favor?
it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay, moving right along. Public hearing, this is a continued definitive subdivision 202301, 39 Keene Road, map 2, lot 13B. The applicant has submitted revised plans and a response from the peer review, which is currently being reviewed by the peer review engineer. The applicant requested more time. He's not ready. Well, we haven't heard back from the peer review engineer. So the applicant requested to continue the hearing to October 17th. Can I get a motion to continue the public hearing for 39 Keene Road to October 17th?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Fabulous. Moving along, discussions and other topics. The discussion on the draft of the accessory dwelling unit bylaw. We have a revised ADU plan here. Victoria, I'll let you speak on this. We've heard from the chief, fire chief on this.
Yes. So there was two revisions in this draft. The first one was to include the comments from the last meeting, which was to limit you can only get one additional ADU by special permit. That is a requirement to have that in there per the state law, but the board wanted to try and limit it to only one additional one and see if it gets kicked back. So the fire chief was following our meetings, and he did reach out to me about adding in language in there about fire department approval, because he, in his fire department community, there's been issues in other towns. So he did review that language, and he was okay with that. Yeah, so this is of course still up for discussion. There's a few comments I received from Steve as well that are not in here, but I just still for discussion. And
Yes.
then once we have,
No, go ahead.
And then once we have like a solid draft that the board is comfortable with, I would recommend sending it to the ZBA first, since the additional one would go through them if they want to keep that. And if there's any additional criteria to be added, that's like a joint kind of discussion. And then after that, once everyone's okay with that draft, then send it around to the departments for review. Thank you.
Sounds good, sounds good. Any added comments, anything that anybody would like to add to this?
I would like to see this limited to one-bedroom units, if that's even possible, but we won't know until we put it out there. we're in agreement.
Actually, that's a good point.
That would help reduce the burden. I don't see it really popping up too quickly. There's a lot of costs, I think, incurred with just to build a small little unit, you know. Building an addition on your house is one thing, but if you did a standalone, it would be something different. And with that, I had asked Victoria to pull up the betterment for the sewer bylaw, okay, which would require a substantial fee to add another unit, whether if you're off the betterment or if you're on the betterment. I'm on the betterment side. It would cost me, you know, over $12,000, almost $13,000 for the privilege fee to add another unit before you even get started.
Say that again?
When you're on sewer,
Yep.
we had a betterment. The betterment was 14,000 and change, okay? If you choose to make an additional tie-in after the fact, an undeveloped spot, and you want to tie into that,
A totally separate little
it
building.
could be and the way the bylaw reads is an improvement to your existing property. Even if I would have decided to put an attached unit on my house, I'd be mandated to pay the privilege fee of 12,000 and change. If you're not on a known betterment, then I believe the fee is around $6,000 to tie into sewer. So originally, which is, I think that was the most recent bylaw I think we passed last year, was because people that are on this side of South Main Street were part of the original sewer project, which was, I think, if I remember correctly, was paid by the federal government back then. They only had a permit fee to pay, which was basically a trenching fee of $675. Well, if you were on the other side to add to it, you were paying. So they put I don't know if they want to call it an impact fee or whatever they put onto it, and it's a $6,000 fee to add a unit to your existing dwelling, or put up a new one. If you're able to put up a new one.
Like a detached.
Yeah. So yeah, so there's
So there's costs involved.
There's cost to putting this thing together. I mean, it's there.
And if you're
I
not-
personally was weighing this out a couple of years ago of putting on a AKA in-law apartment, me moving into it, the kid moving into the main house,
yeah.
right? So, you know, that was part of the cost was, I knew because I was on the Board of Public Works when all this came up, and this privilege fee thing, which was, it's a normal practice to get 90% of the original betterment, so.
So even if you do something like in the basement, and you're not doing any new connections to the sewer, but you're
Creating a unit,
creating a unit,
Yes.
regardless if you're connecting.
yes, because what happened was, and this is where people were up in arms in the beginning, where if you had a two-family home, you were paying two betterments. And there are people that literally have three-family homes, they were paying three betterments. So they were paying close to $45,000 if you had three units.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a lot of people, but that's what was it wasn't something that was pulled out of the air. It is a normal way to assess betterments. There's a couple different ways.
Gotcha.
One of them was street footage, okay, what you have on the road. The other one was per unit. They chose per unit because there's a lot of, like in this village area, you got some that literally got less than 50 feet for frontage. In my case, I live in a corner. I would have been paying. I got 200 feet that way, and I had another 50. I would have been paying for 250 feet.
Right.
Well, my neighbor across the street was, well, not in his case because he's in the same situation. but
Right, where if you,
Yeah.
else would only have 50
feet frontage, they would have been paying a shorter
Lot
fee,
less.
a lot less. So they decided to split it up in that fashion. That was before I got on the board, but that's how they had chosen to do it. So.
I knew about betterments, but I didn't know you could do that. They could do that add-on once you went above the one.
Yeah.
When you want to add when you add a unit, it's there.
Right,
It was
you have to
done
take it
on a
in.
unit basis when they did it, yes. And like I said, there was a lot of people upset, but it was, and there wasn't, it was normal practice. You had a couple different versions of assessing the betterment, and that's the one that they chose.
So that would be something that we would attach.
This is, and I don't know if there's any kind of language has to be inside this bylaw, that they have to abide by any sewer or water tie-ins or whatever it may be. I don't know if that needs to be in here, or if it's just gonna be.
Something that gets,
That's
it's an
gonna
automatic.
get automatic when it comes down, so,
Yeah,
yeah, they're not excluded from it
gotcha,
in that case, so.
gotcha.
Just a question to be, I don't know if it's
So what-
putting it into ask that the powers to be, if that language, some sort of that language needs to be in there.
Well, like Victoria had said, once the draft is complete, we'd send it over to town council
Yeah.
anyways, and, we can have a list of.
We don't need to overload it, but I mean, because if
But it
it's,
sounds
I'm
like
assuming,
a heads up would be a good thing to put in there, though, to say that you might be incumbent on these things.
If you go do.
yeah,
if you
in
do-
general, right.
Right,
Or any other fees that may be, that.
right.
That town may have,
Mhm.
if they decide to do, and, a special water tie-in fee, all that stuff. I'm not sure how all that works out, but the sewer thing was, that was right there in the middle of all of that when I was going on, so.
That probably, when you went to get the permit, that's something that should come up?
It should come up, yeah, because there's a tie-in fee, and after the tie-in fee, there is a connection fee. Or whatever, not a connection fee, it's another assessment on there, but it's there. So you get the privilege, because you're adding units and you're literally taxing the system. So
Yeah.
that's really what it is. Which is probably about the most equitable way to do it.
Yeah, I'm on septic, I'm not on sewer, so I'm assuming everybody that's on sewer gets a water and sewer bill every
Oh, yeah,
month.
absolutely. Well, every 3 months, yeah.
Every 3 months?
Every 3 months.
So if you're adding a unit to that house,
Yeah.
then that should be charged the same sewer and water bill?
Right. Especially in this case now, because they were actually truly a separate unit before.
Right.
Unless you turn it into a two-family, if you were adding an accessory apartment, you were quote-unquote an in-law apartment, I
Right.
think it was less of an issue, but, and I think they actually got rid of the in-law apartments statement a number of years back, what they call it, accessory unit.
The only thing I see is it says rental properties, apartment shall be assessed one sewer unit for each apartment with more than one bedroom.
Yep.
More than one bedroom.
More than one bedroom,
But that doesn't mean that we can't
change the verbiage.
change the verbiage.
Okay, yeah, no, especially if we're shooting for just one bedroom
Yep.
dwellings, then we should have it,
Yep.
that-
Yeah,
that-
even if it's
even if it's
even
one
if it's a half a
bedroom.
fee,
Yeah.
something, but
Yeah,
they
it's
should.
good, they should still pay a fee
Right.
if it's at least one bedroom.
Right.
Okay, yep, I agree. Anything else? Good.
Do we need to
No, this is
make
just,
a motion, just, I don't know if we're
and
gonna
this
get,
is
she's
just
gonna type it up.
discussion, she's gonna type it up, she'll add what we've discussed today on the next draft,
Okay.
and then, once that's done, then she's gonna send it over to the ZBA and get their opinion on it. They might wanna add a few things to the draft as well. Right now, the ZBA is in charge for the special permit for, auxiliary apartments. We'll ask them if they wanna continue to be, or if they wanna relinquish and give it to us. If they wanna continue to be the special permit grantor, then they can keep it. But they should have some say on what goes
Absolutely.
in the draft.
Absolutely.
So, once, all our comments are done, Victoria will add it to the draft, send it over to the ZBA, and then, get comments from them. And then send it off to, Conservation, Board of Health, and everybody else, just to make sure they're okay with everything as well. Before, because this is gonna go to what, springtime meeting?
Yeah,
And then we'll have public hearings and all that
Spring?
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, we'll make the fall.
It will be,
Fall's
fall's
like-
next week.
Next week already, that's right, it's early this
Yeah.
year. I forgot it's early this year, it's usually November. so-
Yeah, it is early this year. So just to be clear, I'm only adding the comment about limiting to one bedroom.
That, and if, do we need to put any verbiage for the sewer?
I think that's more up to you. You certainly can even put a line, something like, permitting from other departments may be required, including but not limiting to water and sewer, or, all that.
Yeah.
Just so it's more like all encompassing.
Right.
Yes, something all
Right.
encompassing, yeah.
Okay.
Just like a heads up thing, like,
Yeah, okay.
you could be incumbent to these things.
To subject to other permits. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that on discussions, and then continuing on, back to you, Victoria. Town planner update on potential grant applications.
Okay, thank you. So it's not too much to really update on this right now. So I did meet with Jamie, so I'm gonna sort of issue like a memo for him to include in his board members' packet. So that's how we'll get that information, about the projects we're interested in doing. I'm in the process of getting quotes for the, IT grant. All the other permitting departments are on board with wanting some form of online permitting. But what the next step for that is to see if the town can keep up with the yearly maintenance fees before we even apply for the grant. We want to make sure we can sustain this, right? So that's sort of where I'm at with that. And 211 Middle Road has filed for their application. That was the informal we had at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago. So just so you know, that's going to be on an upcoming agenda.
That's the big solar field on White's Farm.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry. Should have said that.
Yep.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's how we usually go.
Yeah.
Town markers and stuff.
Yeah, you got, right.
Yeah.
It's a golf course.
The landmark.
Yeah, the landmarks.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I made sure when I speak to Victoria that I want the planning board to make sure they keep the Board of Selectmen in full involvement in what we're doing as far as grants are concerned, and just keeping them in the loop. So that's one thing that she's going to do next, is just put together a memo to get it over to them, just so they know what we're involved in. The more people that are involved, there's less surprises. And nothing else has come up in the last 48 hours. Our next meeting is Thursday, October 3rd. Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss, talk about, or
There was,
mention?
The only thing I was going through was master plan. I was reading the minutes. It was referred to the master plan committee at the last meeting.
Yes.
Has there been any more thought with that? Or?
Yeah, so I was supposed to have a meeting this week with Jamie, our accountant, and Jen from Capital Strategies, but we couldn't meet this week. There was last minute cancellation. So we're going to meet early next week and then sort of define the scope from there, because like I said, they might kind of open other projects as well, not just the master plan. So it could be an open space and recreation plan update as well in there. So we just need to define the scope, internally, and then let Serpent know so we can sort of get this moving. So hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have a better idea, and like the actual timeline and everything for you guys for the next meeting.
And then we can get together a board of a committee of some sort, and then we'll put it out there for the public if anybody in the public's interested.
Right. The master plan committee will have to be established. I'm not sure if this has been discussed before I came on, but sometimes it's like a subcommittee of the planning board. Other times it's kind of like an independent committee, appointed and established by the Board of Selectmen. But that's something I can sort of discuss with Jamie. I don't know if you guys have a preference either way on that.
Well, it almost sounds like a good idea that the board, you're going to have these representatives from the board. It would also be good if the board did talk about it too, at the meetings, like it's a short thing
Yeah,
every
like,
meeting
of
about
course,
this
the
is how we're
update
moving
on the
forward.
process, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more we talk about it and discuss it on television, then
Right.
the town stays updated with what's going on as well.
Is there any idea on a limit of people on the committee
So
for this?
that hasn't been discussed yet. Typically a good number is 7. If you get too little, it's not enough input. If you get too much, it's hard to get a quorum. People don't commit the whole 2 years. So 7 is usually a good that's from my limited experience with master plans, which is one community, but, yeah, and I think 2 representatives from the planning board would be good, as well on the committee. Typically, there's someone from the board of selectmen, someone from conservation or open space, usually like a public safety representative, and then there's like citizen representatives as well. Mhm.
Do any of you three, are any of you three interested in being on the board?
I am. It's kind of, that's what, that was my original thing.
You heading in that direction?
Yep.
Well,
When I came on the board, that was one of my things that I was hoping to be part of.
well, I'm not gonna stop you or slow you down. I mean, you're more than welcome. If there's anybody else that wants to be on, I'd be more than happy to take a step back and let somebody else take the second position for the planning board, which I'm fine with. Trust me, just being the chairman gives me more than enough to do. So if anybody else wants to, then that's fine. You don't have to say it now, but think about it. And if you do, if 2 members from this board want to, then fine, I'll step back. If there's only 1 member from the board that is interested, so let's just say it's you, Steve, and then I'll step up and be the second person. But I do feel that, like Brian was saying, I do feel we as the planning board should have a good input on what's going on. And I think we should definitely have 2 people involved on a more deep basis. And then, you know, obviously those 2 people and Victoria will bring the board up to speed every meeting or every other meeting.
Well,
when
I
there's
was
something-
gonna say maybe
when there's
once a
something-
month
when there's something to discuss, yeah.
Yeah, you talk about.
Yeah, so you guys can think about whether you want to be on that board or not. You don't have to answer now, but if not, we definitely need 2. Steve's already shown interest, and then we'll decide from there.
So, the committee itself, are you basically, I won't say the chair of the committee, but heading up the committee as the town planner for guidance and everything else? I'm just,
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm gonna be managing the project.
all right,
I'm not going to be on the committee, I'm gonna be like I
Yep.
am for you guys.
okay.
And,
That's good.
and our old friend Paul Sullivan is back.
Yes.
He is, and he is also helping with the master plan as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
Gentlemen, can I get a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.